Hi, and welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast, a show with meaningful conversations with non-native speakers. My name is Jedrek.
My name is Masha.
And we are two English teachers who
are now made into Lego minifigures.
Yes, that's true.
This is fantastic. I have a minifigure of me.
Yes. All thanks. Yeah, it goes to Maciek, who designed this beautiful picture of us as Lego figures. It's nice, I wish this was actually an actual Lego set. I think, Maciek, you might share with us the story behind this, but I think it's a Midjourney or any, AI generator that is actually making it, because I've seen quite a lot of Lego sets like that, from the Polish parliament or different places, but it's nice. Maciek also
really
prepared,
nice.
Maciek also prepared another graphics for my birthday, and it was actually me, with a mustache, as a teacher, as the English teacher. That's great. All right, thanks, Maciek. Thanks a lot for that. Thanks for being such a huge fan of this podcast. This podcast that is rolling into its
eternity.
Into eternity, yes. Into its third year of existence. And I'm really proud of this, Masha. Have you seen the number of plays that we had? 4,000, mind you, 4,015 plays so far. As for now, we are recording this. It's Tuesday, the 9th of January. So anyway, Masha, Happy New Year, by the way.
Thank you. Happy New Year, Jendrik.
All right. May this year be not worse than the previous one. I guess it's a very safe wish.
That's all we can hope for, that it's at least not worse.
Yeah. What is actually in front of us this year? I mean, in our podcast.
We want to get to know our listeners better. No?
Great. I think it's a great thesis, to start with. We want more interactions. We want more listeners, of course.
You wanted to build a community.
Yes, and we want to focus on community. It has been on my mind for some time, because I know that, however well we may wish ourselves, I think the times that are coming are pretty turbulent for the internet, for the social media, for everything. So that's why, at the end of last year, I came up with this idea that, hey, maybe we should actually build our own community outside of Twitter, outside of Instagram, outside of any, Facebooks and so on. And basically, the good old idea is to have a newsletter, to have basically a database of emails. And this way, we may actually keep in touch, right?
Yeah. And we
so,
hope
Masha,
for
what's the new...
we hope for also some, not feedback, but some sort of interactions.
Interactions. So, guys, we want to get to know you a little bit better, get to know your opinions, and of course, we want to have you on the show. I already told Masha that I should actually, the both of us, we should be more proactive in reaching out to you, because I know it's very hard to sign up or to volunteer as our guest, especially if your English is not, let's say, if you don't feel confident, right? I think, Masha, this is the common theme, right? Our guests are basically stressed out, and I'm not.
Just like we were.
Yeah. Just like we were at the beginning, recording something that will be there for
and will be played
however
for
long.
four whatever 1,000 times.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my
4,000, the
God.
number 4,000 is the total number. So each episode has an average of 50 plays. So, but again, it's 50 people listening to you, it's quite an audience, right? It's quite an audience. So I don't think I had 50 people listening to my last presentation at the conference in Paris. So, it's quite a lot. Okay,
So
but
what is going to be in our newsletter? Are we going to spam people with
yeah, I mean, the
special
idea,
offer, 5 classes for whatever,
hey,
the price of
you give me an idea now.
No, we're not
No,
gonna do
I
that.
think
No,
no. Our idea, even though Masha, I don't think we have a clear idea of what's going to be in this newsletter.
we do.
But
The podcast is for people to give people something to listen to, and the newsletter is to give people something to read.
yeah, but the general frame. But how about the actual content? Because what are these people, our subscribers, going to read about in the newsletter?
Something interesting, definitely.
No, definitely, no doubt.
something mental
one
style.
one thing for sure, and I need to evoke Maciek's name again, because Maciek will be running a special section of the newsletter with the phrase of the week. And since he's quite keen on finding different phrases.
Yeah, remember he has a special notebook where he
Yeah,
puts all
exactly. So
this.
it's
Yeah,
Maciek's the legendary Maciek's notebook,
yeah.
So I will be more than happy to have him as the co-author of the newsletter. I'm thinking that this could be ultimately a work not just of the 2 or the 3 of us, but of more people, right?
Yeah.
We could contribute, all of us. We could share interesting stuff that we find online and so on, that is in English, that is educational and so on. So I think, however, the texts that we are going to publish there will, I guess, circulate around the area of English, of learning, of motivation, of some stuff that is linked, of course, to learning languages, because after all, it's a podcast for language learners, right?
Right.
Yes, but I wouldn't like to be too teachery, in this newsletter. I hope I'm not too teachery in general.
So you're not going to be this authoritarian teacher who will tell people what to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would like to write.
I'll give you what you need, not what you want.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, as far as writing is concerned, I'm really bad at this. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
just
Of course, we know.
no, Masha, just as this podcast helped me as a public speaker, and it really did. It really did. I feel much more confident right now speaking, being recorded, and being somehow live. I know we are not live right now as you listen to it, but we are recording this, and then we are not even editing. I'm not editing this clip. I'm just posting it. So I'm definitely much more confident. I feel much more confident today than I used to feel like 2 years ago. And
So that's benefit number 1.
That's benefit number 1 for me personally. I hope that the people who joined us on the show, this being here was also some sort of a milestone for them, for some of them at least, right?
And for people who will.
And for people who will join us, because don't forget that it's an opportunity for you also to I don't want to say that out loud, but I guess I have to test your English a little bit. How does it behave in a different environment, different than one-on-one lesson or something like that? So yes, we definitely invite everybody. Don't hesitate to get in touch with us. How do people get in touch with us, Masha? Do you know that?
They write us a letter.
They write us a
Send with
letter, of course,
pigeon or
of course,
something. Yeah, you
of
go to our
course.
website, tolpodcast.com. And
Exactly. And you find all the necessary contact information there, including an email, and there's also a way to get in touch with us on social media like Instagram, Twitter, and I guess that's it. And no, we
Facebook.
are not on Facebook. We are not on Facebook, Masha.
I'm on
I
Facebook.
mean, we are on Facebook as teachers, but we are not on Facebook as podcasters.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, it's
Don't
still us,
hesitate.
right? It's
Yes.
still Jedrek and Masha. You know, it doesn't
Lego
matter whether you.
minifigures.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just got
Lego
this.
minifigures.
It's just so sweet.
Yes. All right. So wait a second. This is the beginning of the year, and it's like a fresh start. So we would also like to tell people what is this podcast about. Again, there's never enough explaining it. Especially that for the past several episodes, we were kind of experimenting, improvising, and can I say we weren't super happy with the outcome?
No, yeah, we're going to stick to our original formula.
Yeah,
Which actually, I
yeah.
think
So it's
made
like
us
we
famous.
with
If
yeah
this word can be
in
used.
2024 is like we are going back to the roots.
Yeah.
Because the roots is where the energy is, right? So we need to rediscover our original energy, and we are definitely going to explore concepts again this year, hopefully with you, our listeners, and this podcast should actually get back to this kind of structure, where we have concrete concepts that we explore.
So if I were your average English learner, and you were not my teacher, but I asked you what can you recommend, in terms of listening, and you would recommend, of course, Thinking Out Loud
Thinking out
podcast,
loud.
and I would say, well, what's so special about this podcast? What is it about? What do people talk about there? Is it about IT?
Yeah,
Is it about climate change? Is it about psychology?
I would basically say it's a podcast about artificial intelligence. Because we have spent so much time talking about it.
New
That is
Year
basically,
resolution, okay?
no
Do not
mentioning.
yeah.
But honestly, Masha, I read, or I think I heard a podcast. It was All In podcast, or I can't remember the name. But I've listened to a podcast where the hosts were actually saying that 2024 is going to be an acid test for this technology, because 2023 was all about the hype. It was like, oh, everybody's afraid, it's such great technology, the business is going to change, language learning is going to change, everything is going to change. And but still, that was based on certain projections, or even, and not even projections, but some hopes, something like that. And now 2024 is the time to prove it. Now, can business prove it that this technology, nascent but already well developed, I guess, is actually going to be helpful or not? So yeah, I think we should take a step back and stop panicking about it, but just
Do you think it's
carefully
going
observe
to
it.
change this show?
You mean in what sense? Probably not.
Probably not. Well, we're already using it a little bit, yes, to help.
Unless Masha, we hire actually an AI and even this language model, we train it on our data, which means the 76 episodes that we have already recorded, and this one is 77th. So this
And let it
AI
run the
could,
show one day.
and let it run the show for us. It could actually, easily build our avatars, and we wouldn't even have to meet for this 1 hour, a week to record it. It could actually do a variation, or maybe talk about some concepts, with us, with our voices, our faces, everything. Great, isn't it? All right,
and our
but
listeners
Masha,
can generate their can train on AI on them and send themselves as guests to this show.
oh, that'd be great.
What a
All
freak.
right, but I have drifted away. You asked me what is this show about, and I said it's about AI. Of course, it was a joke, but this show is about well, honestly, the way we started was to have a spontaneous conversation.
What's so good about
That
spontaneous conversations?
it's different than, for example, a TED talk that many people consider as a good model for language learning. TED talks are not natural. These guys practice for what, 2-3 months, maybe half a year, before they get on
Well,
stage.
it's good for, you can pick up very good vocab there.
Absolutely. But the thing is that it's not how spoken language is actually produced.
Mm-hmm.
What we do, because I listen from time to time, I listen to this podcast, just
No way.
some fragments, and
Okay.
and I see that there's a lot of hesitation,
And
a
you're
lot of
saying it's a good thing
repetition. I won't say it's a good
because
thing.
it doesn't,
It's
yeah,
generally
make us good
considered not to be
speakers,
a good,
if there's a lot of it.
but at the same time, speaking has different grammar than writing.
Mm-hmm.
It has different syntax, it has different logic
It's
to
more
it.
forgiving.
It's more forgiving, of course, and
Yeah.
this is what we have on the show. And I think that
It's a very forgiving show.
it's a
Please,
forgiving
people,
show. Yeah.
come to this show.
Yes. So no, I think, and this is valuable, right? This is valuable to have a conversation that is totally spontaneous, and at the same time, we hope it's also meaningful. How is it possible to have a spontaneous and meaningful conversation? It's another subject, but by basically evoking different concepts here, when we've actually talked about a lot of concepts, like half of the dictionary already. No, I'm kidding. But still, confronting different concepts. What's the difference between this and that? Or what's the relation between one thing and another? I think we somehow co-create the meaning here, right? And this is what
What do you
also
mean by
communication is
that?
about.
Co-create the meaning.
I mean, we just exchange our thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by doing this, we also kind of refine our thinking. Because when two people speak, when two people talk, they say something which is not exactly what they think, but which is what comes to their minds, but only after saying it out loud, you hear it, and then you may actually refine it, because this is a very common situation in conversations around the world. People have a conversation. Sometimes they sound extreme, or they sound kind of, not exactly what they say, something that is not exactly what they think, but because they said it, they may actually refine their thinking the next time
Not
they
exactly
have a
what they
similar
mean.
conversation.
Not
Yeah, and
what they
exactly what they
think.
mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I think this is why I would call these conversations that we are having here, either just you and me, Masha, or us and our guests, as meaningful, because even though we may be beating around the bush a little bit at the beginning, at the end we are kind of refining our thinking, and this is the great advantage of good conversation, that it refines your thinking. Because otherwise, if you keep these thoughts inside of your head and you never speak them, then you will never actually refine them. I think it's, Masha, you may say something about writing. It's pretty much the same with writing. You have to
Put it on paper.
put it on paper.
Yeah,
because as
but
long as
it's
it's
amazing.
inside of you,
It's
yeah,
amazing.
as long as it's inside of
It
you,
works.
it's kind of it's a shapeless kind of thing,
Pulp.
pulp, yeah.
So out of this
And
pulp, you have to make fiction, and you have pulp
yeah,
fiction.
and yeah,
Sorry,
pulp
pun
fiction.
unintended.
All
No,
right.
it is intended. Yeah, but why would you say for an English learner who is struggling with language, why do you think it's better to like you say explore concepts than talk about their holidays or something they can totally relate to, something they talk about every day, something they will definitely need, the language they will use will definitely come up later.
It's a very good question, and I don't know if I'm authorized to speak on behalf of everybody, right? Because to me, basically,
And you are the
speaking
dictator,
about,
so of course you are
yeah,
entitled.
come on. But to me, it's basically easier. It's
Why is that easy?
easier.
People like talking about themselves.
Maybe they do, but at one point, you cross this kind of line of intimacy, when you talk about your health issues, or when you talk about your family, your children, whatever, and sometimes there are some, secrets in every family, I guess, that you don't want necessarily to share, but somehow you spill it, and then you don't feel comfortable. That's why, to me, talking about some sort of impersonal stuff, like shyness and cowardice or other concepts, I think it's safer from this perspective, because it's not touching me personally, even though the answer I give is always super personal, because it's me speaking, right? It's my ideas,
And you draw,
but they are,
yeah, from.
yeah. So from my perspective, such conversations are easier, because you feel better afterwards. They are not so much, maybe, practical, I would say, because, like you said, it's not what you are going to talk about
With your colleague over,
with your
a cup
colleagues,
of coffee.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, if you look closer, then communication is there when we talk about it, because we negotiate the meaning, right? What do you mean by being shy? What do you mean by this or other concept? So definitely we have communication here. And then again, I always say that, and some people disagree with that, but I always say that English has the same syntax, whether it's talking about your lost luggage at the airport, or whether you talk about the difference between being sexy and being beautiful. So that's why I believe that the subject matter is only important when it doesn't touch you personally, because I think it's professional not to enter people's lives too far, because we reveal sometimes facts about our life. Why not, right? But we are not forced to do it. And then on the other side, it's also about meaning, because we negotiate the meaning. How do you understand whatever sexiness, or other concepts? And sometimes, as you know, these are very, very interesting concepts that at first seem like, it's nothing, but then you discover new and new things, leading to some really fascinating conclusions. And we can do it all not actually being experts, right? Because we talk about everyday concepts, I would say.
So that's what we talk about in this.
That's what we talk about. This is how this show was born,
Mhm.
and I think these are the roots of this show. Even though I think we strayed a little bit lately, in especially the later sixth season. I have a feeling we had some conversations that were not exactly about concepts, but even though there were also interesting matters to discuss. But
I can.
2024 is a chance to go back to
Mhm.
the roots.
Well, I can see how people who are, involved in the discussion benefit from it. But what about listening to somebody who is trying to define shyness? How is it beneficial? Why should people listen to this show?
Yeah, I think I'll say something that you said actually some time ago, that it's quite unique as a show to be able to somehow participate, in the sense that when you listen to someone who is speaking their mind, you may actually follow this line of thinking,
Or not?
and because or not, of course, but if you follow, then you are automatically a participant. You are not just a recipient of certain knowledge or even wisdom,
So you
but
mean to the contrary of a show where you listen to experts on different
yeah,
things.
exactly,
They know
exactly,
a lot about this, and you just listen
exactly.
and consume this information.
Yeah,
You're not even able to follow or not follow because you're not competent.
yeah, yeah. You are sometimes not even able to digest all of it, with just a little bit,
Hmm.
But here, I think the process is different, because we are all at the same level in terms of in the starting level, because of course we are asking the questions, but later, what happens later is like we are all in this together. That
Hmm.
is you, me, our guests, and our listeners,
Hmm.
all of us, and we just go step by step. And of course, conversation has its own dynamic. So sometimes, we of course take a detour. We forget about the original question, and then we come back after some time, and so on, of course. But I think this is all a process that we are recording. It's happening live, and in my opinion, it's an added value, that you can actually follow the line of someone's reasoning, agree with it or disagree with it, but think alongside us, alongside our guests, and think also in your head what you would say,
Hmm.
because this is, at least, Masha, this is what I have when I listen to you, or when I listen to our guests, that I'm kind of following this line of thinking, and then you add something, and this is exactly what this negotiation of meaning is about, because we negotiate. Okay, you said something, yeah, I agree, but you see, and then you add something, another person adds something, and you end up actually having this feeling that we are
You
sharing,
contributed.
really. Yeah. This is this feeling of sharing, and I think this feeling is also on behalf of our listeners, that they listen. This is the feedback we get, that they listen, they follow the line of thinking, and it's kind of refreshing. So yeah,
Okay,
this is
so
the magic.
if I decided to listen to this podcast, this is what I would hear. Two, sometimes three people, as you say, negotiate the meaning, explore concepts.
Yes.
And I don't have to be an expert to understand this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but why wouldn't I rather spend my very precious and very little time on listening to, I
Joe
don't want to
Rogan.
say Joe Rogan, but I want to say
All right.
native speakers, because this everybody who is studying foreign language, English, I don't know what, they want to sound, they want to, I want to be able to understand TV
Mm-hmm.
series and native speakers, and it's very difficult. So is there any benefit in listening to this show? We're not native
Very.
speakers.
It's a pity I don't have, uh, and I must come clean about it. I don't have any knowledge based on literature that I read, about it, whether listening to non-natives is actually more beneficial than listening to non-natives, or vice versa. I think my intuition is telling me that listening to natives should actually be the thing you should be doing.
Hmm.
But But at the same time, we also get the feedback that that is you and me, we are easier to follow, easier to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because we are non-natives. And what does it mean? It means that we are using simpler structures. Our vocab is poorer. And we are not hiding it. We are teachers, but at the same time, we are users of English, just like you. And
We use
I think
lingua
this,
franca, which is
yeah, exactly. We
for
use the lingua
communication.
franca. Yes, yes. And there's also, there's also this. I think very often missed aspect of our mentality. Is different than the mentality of native speakers, right? Either Americans, the British, or any other. In the way that our sense of humor is different.
Because
our perception.
I mean, it's because of your sense of humor as an individual or as a representative of a different culture.
As a representative of a different culture, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I mean, yeah, of course, everybody has their individual sense of humor. It's another thing, but there are things that we see that, differently, basically, differently.
So would you recommend
than
an Argentinian listening?
Sorry, listening to us?
Yeah.
A very good question. We are. I mean, we are Central Europeans, and for sure, and also our audience is mostly. Even though there was an episode, remember, when I read the list of countries where this podcast was listened to, it might have been an accident, like someone from Puerto Rico clicking, just let's play this. Oh, what crap! But still, it counted as a click from Puerto Rico. But I think it's a very good question, whether we could be understood by Argentinians. Wish we had somebody from Argentina here. Yeah, but anyway, and somebody from Argentina who's not Polish or Ukrainian,
Yeah, so if I'm I don't know from where, okay, Brazil, yeah. So it's if I listen to the show, I'm not listening to natives, which would help me. I'm not listening to Brazilians who know what it's like, to learn this language, who can help me, who I share the same culture with them. So what's the benefit here?
Well,
and on the other hand, you would only recommend the show to Poles and Ukrainians?
No, definitely not. I mean, since English is a lingua franca,
and we
so
discuss
everybody,
concepts with that,
exactly.
universal.
I mean, it's actually fantastic, if you can confront the understanding of certain concepts with different with minds from different, cultural background. It's fantastic. I have this kind of experience in my everyday work when I work with people from different countries, and it's great. It's great. It's actually, I can feel the difference across European countries, but if you add the world to it, it's fantastic. Fantastic.
So coming back to proficiency, I think when we were creating this podcast, we were thinking more of people whose competence in English is not very high, and we recommend always, listen, you absolutely must listen to something, but they couldn't find anything because of, if you listen to natives, it might be discouraging because you get lost easily and you feel dumb and
frustrated, basically, that you don't understand.
Or the other thing which is available to you is basically podcasts about how to learn the language.
Yeah, or podcasts that are artificially slowed down or kind of dumbed down to the level of A2 learner or something like that.
So what would you recommend to an A2 learner?
Listening to our show,
Suffer but listen.
Yeah, suffer but listen, and also.
So there is no fun way to learn a language.
There is. I mean, there is, but this fun, you need to find this fun inside of your heart. I'll say it like this.
Oh,
I know it's
okay.
deep. I know it's deep.
The heart, your
But
hearts are very deep.
but
Oh.
and capacious.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
the thing is that it's all about motivation, because you may approach language as a challenge, for example, like a detective, and try and decipher the meaning, right? This is what I'm actually doing a lot when I'm in foreign countries and I like to buy a newspaper, local newspaper, whether it's in German or in any language, Spanish or Hungarian, it's Hungarian is actually sorry,
One of the
it is a
most
language that
difficult.
nobody can understand. Yeah. But I'd love to have somebody from Hungary here. But the point is that I know that I may be different, I may have this kind of perverse pleasure, coming from the fact that I don't understand and I want to understand. And so I know that not everybody's like this. People get discouraged when they face difficulty, but it's all in your head. You can change it. Basically, you can approach, a foreign language like it's a riddle that you have to solve. Especially when we talk about text. With listening, it's a little bit different because, of course, everybody can pause and go back and pause and go back, but it's a bit different because this is flowing. And
Yeah,
yeah, but with
motivation, of course. I was reading the other day the latest newsletter from Lexical Lab, and this time it usually is written by Hugh Deller, who was on our show, but this
yes.
time it was written by his partner Andrew Walkley.
Mm-hmm.
It happens like once in a blue moon because he's not on social media or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
he was
Mm-hmm.
no, it was not it was the newsletter, and then I followed one link to his post about flipped classroom and how he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really approve of it. And his main argument was that if you set this bulk of work as homework, there's very little chance that I will find time to do it. And then he goes into long explanation like how his life is full of many other things and he simply cannot find time to do this. And
Mm-hmm.
I basically agree with him, but then I was thinking, then what is why did you take up um, this learning a language in the first place if you simply don't have any time for it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's your do you think a teacher can motivate a student, or is it you
Yeah,
each
I
has to
mean,
find the motivation in themselves?
I wouldn't say that you can kind of literally motivate. You may inspire people to get motivated,
Hmm.
but you cannot motivate unless we talk about these carrots and sticks. But this is extrinsic motivation, so it's different, because if I am responsible for giving you the passing mark or not, then I may motivate you very well, because I know you want to pass the test, so you better
It's
learn.
rather not the mark, but what it represents to a person that motivates them. Maybe it's a promotion. He's doing it for a
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not
exactly,
you with your
exactly,
mark, it's whatever it is.
exactly, exactly. But
So,
uh, I um I am cooperating with a company, and this year we are about to start a new
season.
adventure. But it's not so easy, for example, to explain to the president of the company what are the benefits of these classes.
Hmm.
Because and by the way, to all of you who are listening, I'm running basically conversation classes with people from a company, and it's very hard to test people or to measure their progress in conversations. Of course, we have some Quizlet sets. I could actually test their vocab,
Knowledge of vocab.
retention or something. But will that actually be, honest? Unless it's just for the purpose of, satisfying the president, of the company. Just, okay, I see some numbers, I see some percentage points, people go from 50 to 66%. It's great, but it means nothing in terms of, their overall progress. It's very hard to measure, what is, the boss may ask, what's the added value? What's the, where are the results? And this is very hard. I was thinking that maybe, Masha, I should write one day, and maybe even in our newsletter, it's an idea for one of the texts that is in my head, an open letter to the president of a company, and I would like to explain somehow, or just tell the president that it's today in this particular time of the century, I would say, it is very important for the private business to foster quality education, because these are the presidents, the CEOs, bosses of different levels, who are sometimes responsible for hiring this or that language school or any other, trainers. And I think that since public education is doing so, and the perspectives are not so bright there, I think it is the private part of the economy that needs to take this responsibility. However, it's super hard, right? Because what presidents and bosses generally want, they want results. They want to see progress. They want to see Excel files and nice graphs.
Because this is what the shareholders require.
Yeah, exactly. That's the logic. That's the logic of of running a business, right? But at the same time,
so you're
education.
going to fight even that? You're going to challenge, like there's nothing sacred for you. You're going to break.
No, I mean it's not about challenging, because there's nothing about challenging, but it's also a process of educating people too. I know that it's just that a lot of people, including our learners, they have a wrong perception of what is progress in language learning, right? Because
it's very interesting. How would you measure?
Yeah.
Because
super.
this institution is called what? Sefer?
Yeah.
Sefer? They
Yeah.
know exactly how to measure.
Yeah. I mean, they established. Yes, they established a range of tests with specific tasks, and they are able to assess your speaking, writing, and listening and reading skills. Yeah. But then again, I'm kind of skeptical about it. Anyway, maybe it's a story for a different episode of our show. But I just I don't know actually how did we end up talking about this, companies
good quality
and
education.
Yeah, good quality education. We are always coming back to it.
We are pointing out the benefits of listening and being on our show. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're trying to lure people in because
Right.
they wouldn't come,
Yeah.
So we need to drag them.
But yeah, we need to drag people. All right. Or drug people.
No.
Okay, Masha, so that is it as far as this show is
So what is our
concerned.
message to our listeners this year?
The message to our listeners is get involved, get on board, and be part of our small community, which is very, very nice, because we are not a holding, that is reaching out to millions of people, but we are like a small family, So every feedback that you send us will be read, and we will respond to it, and
will be acted upon, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can test your English. It's a free class, free 1 hour of conversation. You test your speaking skills. You, I don't know, try yourself as a vlogger or blogger or whoever.
Yes.
And all this, you know, you just have to send us one email.
Yeah, exactly. And all this in a
Hi,
pleasant.
I want to be on your show, and that's it.
But I was thinking, what is actually scary about participation in this show is that people don't know the questions. Because it's always a surprise, right? What are we going to ask our next guest? And perhaps if we had a list, of questions that is known beforehand, maybe it could entice people to join
Oh,
us.
come on.
But
Okay. Well, even if you know the question in advance, you know how conversations go.
yeah,
These
yeah, and
twists and
this is
turns,
what I
and
would
you don't
say.
know
Yeah,
where you will end up at the end of the day, and we'll end up talking about. We'll start with Chinese, but end up talking about, I don't know, AI as always. So there's no
yeah.
way to prepare.
Yes, and I would exactly say that as a reason why you don't know the question, because we are going. It's just like, I think it's pretty much like job interviews. You go
Or
there, and of
exam
course,
at university, you know, where you have, for
yeah,
example, 20 topics. You
yeah,
pick one, and you see that you have absolutely nothing to say on this matter, and you just, you know, make a bridge and talk
yeah,
about
stuff that you know.
what you know. So
Yes, and I think it's yeah. It's also a technique. It's also a technique of
no, no, no,
having
spoiler,
a
it's not
conversation.
working here, because Jendrik is very cruel, and you always bring people back. Like, yeah, but the point you were trying to make, or, you know, the question was this. So no, it's not
No,
working.
I mean, I like, once
Not
again, we are
universe.
back to the meaningful conversations. The conversation cannot be meaningful if you don't answer the question. I mean, you know, it's pretty much obvious, right? That a conversation is meaningful if it answers the original question.
Or if I rephrase the question and, throw it back at you.
Yeah.
There are different ways you can
Yes, there are different ways.
you
Exactly.
can do it.
All right.
Come on, you can
Anyway,
ask anybody who we can, and we're going to ask, everybody who's been on our show, and everybody will say that, yeah, it was very scary, but it was a lot of fun. Nobody
yeah,
was disappointed. Nobody.
nobody, nobody. That's true.
Nobody but me. Okay.
Right.
We really
So,
want new guests.
Masha, yeah, we are using this episode, the first episode of 2024, as basically a huge
Marketing campaign.
marketing campaign, exactly, in favor of this show, in favor of listening to us, getting engaged. I don't know if we even mentioned this newsletter, that you can actually sign up to it if you go to the tolpodcast.com. There will be a pop-up window. I know you love it. Everybody loves pop-up windows. But this is where you can type your email address and click subscribe, and just wait. I know, Masha, when is actually going to be the first newsletter distributed. I'm thinking about
I
the end of
thought you have
January.
already
Honestly.
prepared the first
No,
news.
no, no, not at
Oh,
all, not at
come
all.
on.
I know Maciek is prepared with his phrase of the week, but
For the whole year.
for the whole year, maybe, yeah. But I'm definitely not yet prepared. I'm thinking about, first we need to collect a certain amount of emails. I would modestly say 20 emails, and this is when we
This
start
is too
sending
much
out.
to ask. You ask people for their emails without telling them, exactly what to expect. Oh, it's going
Well,
to be
they know what
something
to
interesting.
expect.
Oh,
It's
no,
Jedrek and
no, they
Masha.
don't.
We
Oh,
are we
yeah.
are
Famous
we are already,
Lego
we have
minifigures.
our we have our brands. We have a minifigures. We have Lego minifigures. Yes. So yeah, but once again, then I will come back to this newsletter. What I'm thinking about it: no spamming, just interesting stuff to read, because I think that reading is super important. And I know that just like listening, people don't know what to listen to because there is a lot of stuff. It's pretty much the same, or even a bigger problem with reading, because there is even more text online right now than audio. So it's very hard to choose something for myself, and I think that reading is essential for learning, to have, and I always say that reading is easier than listening, or reading is easier than watching, because the text is not
It's there.
escaping. It's there, it's there, and you can always, you can look at it. You may come back to it, and it's definitely there. But reading is essential. I would even say, Masha, that reading, the benefits of reading are plenty, but one of them is actually an improved listening skills. They are definitely related. Yeah, I mean, if you read a lot of text, like if you read books, like Ella is doing. Ella, where are you? We are waiting for you on this show. And actually, Ella is another name that comes to my mind when it comes to our newsletter. She could actually run some book recommendations once a month or something like this. It's I know Ella is a great reader, and she's actually reading stuff in English. It's fantastic. Anyway, sorry, but I want to say that, Masha, you opened your eyes, like, how come reading can help listening? Well, it can, because you get acquainted with the syntax. You somehow know what to expect, because if you know that the whole language is basically a huge set, of course, a huge set of certain chunks, certain collocations, certain bits of language, then it's easier to catch them on paper, of course. And then when you listen, you might actually say, I know what it is. I know what they are talking about. I know what is this phrase.
Not necessarily, because of connected speech, because of very often this is one of the biggest problems. The person's trying to
Pronunciation.
listen and they don't
Mhm.
understand anything, and when you show them the written text, they're like, oh my god, I know every word, but I wasn't able to catch any of them. So
Mhm.
not really. And the second kind of pitfall is that English spelling is irregular, and you may learn to pronounce this. I mean, this is my story. I how many words, because I essentially
Mhm.
made my most of my input was through reading initially,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I many words. Then I later discovered that I learned the pronunciation wrong, and I kept
Mhm.
mispronouncing these words until I heard, and I was like, oh my god, is this how this word is pronounced?
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, definitely reading is great for learning, but I wouldn't say that it necessarily
Well,
helps
it's
you
not
improve
like,
your listening.
but
The only
they are
thing that helps you,
interrelated.
I
I
think
mean,
that
everything.
this is where I
It's not
stand.
like,
The only
it's not
thing that
like all
helps
these.
you improve your listening is listening. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's not like these four skills are independent,
Yes, of course. No,
because
they are not
they are all.
independent. Yes,
Yeah.
but when we're talking about specifics of each skill, then
Yeah.
but no, of course, don't get me wrong. Reading is super great. It's super fun. It's super beneficial.
Yeah, and that's why the idea with the newsletter, with something to read weekly, and hopefully also you are going
So
to
you see,
benefit.
we're going to be offering the full package.
Yeah, yeah,
Listen,
speaking. Yeah,
reading, and come and produce the language. You
yeah,
may also write
yeah,
us
fantastic.
if you want.
Yes,
Leave us whatever, a message, short, long.
of course. Comment on our
We
YouTube
finally will be offering
channel.
a full package.
Our YouTube channel, Masha, is the failure of 2023. I think I may say
let's
that openly.
let's go back to I
I
will
mean,
not have to think about what I wear and stuff, and
if you're
where I'm sitting.
if you're listening to us on YouTube, then I don't know, make a comment or something below this video, because I'm really curious, who's listening, because we are having some strange number of views there, something like 5 views of an episode.
I
From
hope
time to
these are
time
not
it is
some bad people.
bots.
No.
All right. But it's actually quite funny, because last year, I think starting in November, maybe, I can't remember exactly, but I started to experiment with ChatGPT. Sorry to mention this name, but Chat was doing the description of the videos, YouTube videos. And I guess podcast the same. Sorry for that. If you ever read these descriptions, if they sounded kind of weird, it was because it was AI. I will now come back to writing it myself, because I think it's much better, much more human, and it's definitely a better experience. Even if my language is much poorer than AI's, but
people appreciate the effort.
I think people appreciate the effort, and it's, once again, I will stick to this general rule that what is made by humans is actually better. Even though it may be poorer, maybe of the so-called. It's a very good question, by the way. Worse quality technically, right? But it has it has this spirit. That's I think it's much better. I don't know, of course, if this is not just my impression, because if you are, just an outsider and you read a text written by a human, not so much capable, and then you read a beautiful text from generated by ChatGPT, maybe the other one is better. But what I want to say is that I prompted ChatGPT to write a description of a YouTube video, and CEO, SEO. Sorry, what is the SEO? Yeah, SEO, SEO profiled and so on. So that it has some keywords and so on, so that the search engines may actually find these videos. And you know what? The result is the same like the descriptions I was actually producing, pretty much. So yeah, there are some videos that are more popular than others. The one with Boris was very popular, with Jacek, but others are just, they are forgotten. All right. So yeah, our YouTube channel. Well, I still recommend it. Of course, we are still going to be posting there, but it's kind of slow, the way it develops. I was thinking maybe, of course, I'm doing a lot of stuff wrong. Once again, I maybe should consult Adrian, who is a master of. He's a YouTube channel owner, and he knows how to, navigate all these little things around YouTube.
So if you could ask Santa for one thing, for this show.
Wait, Santa? It's like 1 year away. He's just been around. All right.
Okay, Saint Valentine.
Oh, Saint Valentine, great.
What would you ask for this show?
For this show?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a very good question. What is it that we need? I would ask for persistence. Our persistence.
Oh, we have it. Come on, we proved it.
Can we take it for granted?
Yes.
Like next year? Okay, good. So if we have it, then I would definitely ask for interactions. Interactions. I would like this show to be more interactive at various fronts, either in the section of comments, feedback, guests, and all sort of the new project of the newsletter and so on. Definitely interactions, If it's very nice, Masha, that you asked me, because we'll meet in December, given our persistence, of course, and we may be able to go back to this episode, the first episode of 2024, and see whether this Saint Valentine or whoever
was kind to us.
Yes, and yeah, that's great.
Okay, so Saint Valentine, send whatever it's courage to our listeners.
Yeah,
to come out there, I am an English learner and I want to test my English.
Yeah, and I want to test, and at the same time, I want to say something, meaningful, and be a user of English, and not a learner, but a user who contributes to this global circulation of ideas and so on. This is what is happening here. Once again, we are coming back to the roots, to the our concept digging and so on. Yeah, our mission, exactly. Fine, Masha, I think it was a beautiful reintroduction.
Yeah.
to our show, to our listeners, both old and new. And I would say we wish you all fantastic 2024.
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are, exactly. And however great was your 2023, we still hope that this one will be even better. So, all right. With that being said, people, don't forget about our newsletter. You can access or you can sign up to it by visiting our website, tolpodcast.com. And don't forget to leave us your voicemail. Don't forget to sign up to our classes. Come on, it's January.
You can fuel our persistence a little bit by buying us a coffee, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
Supporting
I
this
even
show.
forgot. Yeah, I even forgot.
I mean, we are the gods of persistence, but
exactly.
It would be nice.
It would be nice, of course, to get tipped. So don't hesitate. Everything's on our website, tolpodcast.com once again.
So
Masha, it's over. It's over to you.
This was the first episode this year and another episode of the Thinking Out Loud podcast.
77.
Was it Thinking Out Loud podcast? Was it thinking? Was it
so much? There wasn't so much thinking this week, I mean, I feel like it was more like talking out loud.
We managed not to rant, not to whine.
That's great, and let's keep.
Keep up.
That's an achievement, and I hope that we can stay positive like that throughout the year.
So stay tuned for the next.
Actually, be about ranting.
Stay tuned for the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.